And clear of the closing doors, please.
What up, son? What up? Grind and Pivot, Louie Max on a cold New York Thursday afternoon. But I have someone that's going to warm us up. You have no idea. Straight out of the West Coast. And you know what? She might be my favorite mink, or minks, I should say. But, I'm going to go back and say that she's no doubt, to me, and anybody I say about this will know what I'm talking about. She's the Kay Parker of this generation. And maybe we'll get into that and explain. Today I have the beautiful, the insatiable Mindi Mink. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you, Louie, for such a nice introduction.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it.
Good to see you. You look amazing. How are you feeling? You're doing okay?
Yeah, everything's good. I mean, gosh, it's almost the end of the year. It's been a wild, fun, amazing year. So yeah, it couldn't be better.
Great. So let's start from kind of the beginning. Give the people listening and viewing just a little bit of what led you down the path that you are walking, running, jogging down.
Right. That's a good question. I was a single mom and living paycheck to paycheck, barely getting by. And then all of a sudden one day, my full-time job was pretty much gone. It went to a part-time job. And I knew that I had a mortgage to pay in a couple of weeks. And I needed to do something quick where I could make some money quick. My boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, he had always said that when he was first with me intimately, that he was a big porn watcher when he was in a previous relationship. And he just said, I think you would be amazing in front of the camera. I think the camera will love you. And so when I was in this position where I needed to pay my mortgage, I was like, what can I do? And so I looked into being a webcam model. And I thought, well, I'll give it a try and see what happens. And, the rest is history. So that's how it all started.
Wow. So you were totally open to it? Were you taken aback? I mean, what was the
No,
reaction?
I actually have always been a very sexual being. And so for me, it was like, well, I feel like I've always been really good at flirting and teasing and all that kind of stuff. So I thought, well, I'll just, do what I do, and see how it goes. But no, I wasn't offended at all. I mean, I actually kind of took it as a compliment. And I thought, and at that time I was 43 years old. So I was kind of like, well, I don't know how many people are going to want to watch a 43-year-old, but heck, I'll give it a try. And boy, was I surprised how many people wanted to watch a 43-year-old.
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's interesting. So that's a great question. That answer leads me to a great question. What did you do from 20 to 40? What were you doing? I mean, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. Waitressing mostly, was a waitress. Then I got into sales, inside sales. And then I was an outside sales rep for various, landscape construction related companies. So I was basically out and about, doing my thing. And, I love people. I love to connect. And so for me, sales was, waitressing too, was really good too. It was just, so I've always done something where I'm surrounded by a lot of people and meeting new people all the time. And it just, so that's what I've always done, waitressing or sales.
That's very cool. Point of note, I was a waiter for 10 years in the 80s, and I met my wife as a customer. Still married 38 years.
Very cool.
How about that? So you guys, how about that? So I totally know the waiter and the waitress. By the way, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I always had a lot of fun with it and,
right.
Made good money, so to speak, and yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always on the West Coast. Is that where you're from? You're from out west?
Yep. I was born in Burbank, California, but then by the time I was in second grade, we were in Northern California, at that point, and, stayed there my whole life until basically coming here to Arizona.
Gotcha. So what's a typical day in the life of Mindi Mink? I think people might want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, honestly, the first thing I do when I wake up, because I wake up kind of early, is I put on an audiobook. And it's usually a book that is an inspiring book of some sort. One of my favorite authors and speakers is Dr. Wayne Dyer. And
Okay.
so I listen to him and, just kind of get my mindset in the right frame to start my day, and then come out, make my coffee. I love my coffee in the morning, grind the beans, the whole thing, and have a little bit of coffee. And then I start answering messages on OnlyFans and loyal fans. Like, that's the first thing I basically do. And then from there, it's, workout, power walk. I have a stationary bike. I teach Zumba. So do some kind of exercise and shower, get ready. And then, because of how active I am on OnlyFans and loyal fans, I'm always getting requests to making custom videos or doing a Skype video chat. And so then I'm doing those things, and it's pretty much then the rest of the day or night, I'm still answering messages. There's always a ton of messages, and I answer all my messages and everything. So it takes up a lot of my time, but that's the typical day for me.
Okay, cool. So
Yes.
that was cool about the audiobook. That was pretty interesting. I like that. I know you're pretty spiritual. What's it like now? Do you get noticed? Do people check you when you, not noticed, but what's the word? Recognized. I'm losing my mind. You get recognized out there, like if Mindy's in Starbucks or do you get does anybody say, wait a minute, I know you?
If you would have asked me that a year ago, I would have said no. No, I've never had anybody come up and recognize me. But something happened a year ago. I don't know how it happened, but the first time was literally here in my own hometown. I was at a UPS store returning something from Amazon or whatever. And I'm just standing in line. It was a long line. I'm just kind of, I'm answering messages, waiting my turn. And this gentleman walks by and he says, "Mindi?" And I mean, my heart stopped, and I looked at him and I went, and I just put my head back down. I just went back to answering messages because I was so caught off guard, and then, he left, and I really kind of felt bad because I was like, I've always said, if you see me and you recognize me, come say hi.
Of course, say hello. Absolutely.
Right. But because I was so caught off guard, I just denied it and put my head down. And then after I did my whole thing with the package, I ran out in the parking lot. I was like looking, because I wanted to go say, "I'm so sorry." But, it wasn't like I could have a conversation with him in line. There's a bunch of people, right? If you know what I mean? So I was like, it probably would have been bad if I would have said, "Yeah, hi," but I didn't see him. And I thought, well, he is in my backyard and maybe I'll run into him again. And then, so that was probably maybe 8-9 months ago. And then I was in Vegas in February this year for my best friend's daughter's bachelorette party. And we were just out walking around in a group, there's like eight or 10 of us. And these two guys walk up and they're like, "Can I get a picture with you?" And I was like, "Sure." And I said, "Is there a particular reason why you want a picture with me? Or do you want one with the whole group?" "No, just you." And I was like, and I said, "You must know who I am." And they're like,
They were totally cool. They were totally cool, though. They were totally cool, which is
totally cool.
That's got to be the best. That's got to be the best.
Yeah, totally respectful. And then the other wild one was while I was on that same trip, we were at the restaurant called Dick's, where they the waiters and waitresses treat you horrible and all this. Anyways, the waitress, they make you these, you wear these tall hats and they write something on the hat, like a derogatory thing. And it said "free motorboats" on my hat, right? And so I thought that was pretty funny. So I looked at the waitress and I was like, "Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one." And then as I was looking at her, she just went, she's like, "Oh my God, you're Mindi Mink." And I was like, "Yes," and it was a girl, so I was like, "Oh my God, that's so exciting." And so, yeah, I don't know. All of a sudden, it just kind of started happening this year where people recognize me. I mean, I'm pretty much homebound. I don't really go out a lot, but it has happened, and it's kind of cool. I
That is
have to
pretty
admit.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Good. I'm glad you admitted that it's cool.
It
Absolutely.
is cool. Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
for sure.
if people see me, please come up and say hi. I
Uh,
would, I
uh,
would be happy to say hello and have a little conversation with them for
that's
sure.
great. That's excellent. How'd you come up with the name?
Good question. You have a lot of good questions. So my husband, when I first met him, he said that the first thing that attracted him about me was my hair. And downstairs, I had just kind of a little patch. And he had said to me, "Wow, I'd really love to see your pussy hair grow out." And I said, "Oh, okay, sure." So I let it grow, let it grow. And as it got to what it is now, the first time he was like really like, because he's kind of a connoisseur of bush, he was just like petting it and looking.
Shout out to Mr. Mink.
Right, Mr. Mink knows, right? Yeah. So he was like touching it and looking at it. He's like, "Oh my God, this is the most beautiful pussy hair I've ever seen." He said, "It's as soft as a mink." And I was like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." So 2 years later, when I start webcamming and I need to come up with a stage name, he said, "Your last name has to be Mink." And I was like, "Okay." And then I just felt Mindy kind of flowed with Mink. So it was really him that inspired me for my stage name.
That's amazing. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Great. Kudos to him. Let me tell you. Incredible. So, uh, do you ever think about what the effect of you doing this kind of content will have on you in the next, 10 years? Just let's say, just for, I'm sure it goes
Yeah.
through your mind. I'm sure it goes through your mind, as liberal as you might be.
Yeah. I don't really worry about it anymore because back in the day in like 2014, because I started all this October of 2012. So in 14, I was told by some people in the industry, just so you're aware, at some point your family will probably find out. And I was like, nah, they'll never find out. Well, my family found out in 2016. Now, I do have a child, and I was honest with him from the get go. Like 2 months after webcamming, I was honest with him because I really didn't want, that was my main thing, was how he was going to handle all this. But he's been so supportive and awesome. And when I started filming girl porn and became a porn star, he was like so proud of me and yeah, he's got my back. So anyway, so I don't really worry about that anymore, or think about it because everybody in my family already knows now.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any mentors in the adult world now? Anybody that you've kind of
No, you
latched
know,
on to and become maybe friends or
oh, friends, yes, yes, but I never had a mentor really. And to be honest, I didn't even watch really porn before getting into it. I was not a porn watcher. I would occasionally watch a little bit of lesbian porn here and there, but it wasn't something that I did. So I never really had a mentor or looked up to somebody like, "Oh, I would really like to, talk to this person and have them mentor me." But yes, I did create some, friendships with a few of the ladies. The one I'm most active with, there's only two that I really have stayed in contact with, because I stopped filming for production companies in 2018. So I do everything on my own now. But the two ladies that I have stayed in contact with are Siren Demir, who I did work with, did some custom videos with, and some production work with, and also Eva Long. Again, production work as well as custom videos. So those are the only two ladies that I really like have an ongoing still friendship with, and they're amazing. I love them both.
great. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the actual, filming a little bit. OnlyFans, loyal fans, your content. It's a business. We know that. But you look super, super sincere during your content. But what's going through your mind? How frame out for us and for the people, like a behind the scenes kind of thing, in a way where you're putting together a scene, putting together something. What's it actually like? Take us from like maybe the start and the end, if you could, in maybe a brief way.
Sure. So 90% of what I film is from a paid custom video from a fan. So they have come to me and said, I would like you to create this video for me. And so they've kind of given me already the story and the idea. And then I just elaborate from there, ad lib. And, they might give me a few keywords or sentences, not a script. I don't do scripts, but they might give me a few little things. But basically, I just kind of like take that idea that they've given me and really just try to immerse myself into this role and this idea and this story in a way where, it's funny, like I never know until the camera's rolling what I'm actually going to say. Like I don't plan it out or think it out or act it out and go through it one time and then have my husband film it. Literally, I'm best when the camera just starts rolling. I guess I'm blessed in that way because it comes naturally for me, to just get into the character and get into the story idea and create it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I know you're kind of spiritual. You're very spiritual. We mentioned that before. Tell us a little bit more about that and how that keeps you, grounded.
Grounded. Yeah. I was blessed and fortunate to have a spiritual upbringing at the time when I was like a preteen, teenager. So I was born and raised Catholic because I'm Italian, but it just never really set well with me. But when I was in this preteen age, my family found a spiritual center that just really spoke to me. And I just have always kind of stayed in that mindset and energy. And I found that, yes, I've had my ups and downs and I've had, some crazy situations in my life where I've gone through some difficult times, but I know that because I was introduced to these teachings at a younger age, it's really helped me, overcome, some of those real difficult challenges I've had in my life. Right. So it's an important part and piece to my day. Like every day I read a daily word message from this booklet that I have. It's like every day I am putting myself in that energy and space. And I like to meditate and, and meditation, I think a lot of people think, oh, it has to be, you have to sit there and be quiet and your thoughts have to be gone. No, meditation for me can be taking a walk and just being in that moment of looking at the trees and hearing the birds and feeling the wind and the sun on my face. Like for me, that's meditation too. There's different forms and ways to meditate. So, so it is very important to me because for me, balance is everything. I need to have balance in my life. And so that's why the spiritual things that I do are important to me. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me balanced because obviously I'm in a very interesting, crazy job.
No doubt about it.
Especially with all the stuff that I do, if you know the stuff that I do.
Well said. Now was that a Northern California thing, that spiritual?
Yes. Well, and actually the church organization that I am, a part of is called Unity. And they're actually based in I believe it's Missouri, but they have churches all over. Right. Yeah. So, it's not like it was just a church or spiritual center in Northern California. They're all over the place. They're worldwide, actually. So yeah.
If I had to ask you, what was the most pivotal moment in your life? Where was that fork in the road, or where? I know we said I know you got into the content at a certain age, but was there some pivotal moment in your life that kind of, you had to go one way, you had to go the other, that kind of made it made it where you're at now?
Yes, actually, when I was 28. So my child was, a couple years old at the time. And it was like I just kind of got to that point in my life where I was done worried about what people thought. I was done living my life to please other people. And I was going to start living my life and doing things that made me happy. So I divorced my son's dad because I just basically realized that I shouldn't be in that marriage. And I decided I was just going to do me, which also meant getting into a lesbian relationship. So shortly after we separated, I had met a lady, and I'd been bisexual my entire life. I had been with women since I was 19 on and off. But, because of the stigma, of being in a lesbian relationship and all that. And, we grow up with the mindset you're supposed to get married to a man and have a baby and, all that, right? So I just was like, fuck it. I'm gonna do me. And I want to know what it's like to be in a relationship with a woman. I'd already had sex with women multiple times, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do this now. And that's what I did. And but the cool part is like I said, it was just kind of realizing and waking up that I'm not gonna live my life for everybody else, and I'm gonna do what makes me happy. So that was the pivotal moment. I was 28.
I love it. What's Mindi Mink's favorite song to sing in the shower?
There is no favorite song because I don't sing. Like, that is one thing I like, to get me to sing happy birthday. Like, I have a lot of people on like Cameo ask for a Cameo birthday shout out or something. I'm like, oh my God, I do not like to sing. I mean, I sound okay, I guess, but I'm really not a singer. I'm a dancer. So I really don't sing in the shower. So I don't have an answer for that one.
What's something that your followers and some of your fans would be surprised to, learn about you in an interview like this?
I've always been a very shy woman when it comes to sex. Meaning, when I met my husband, this is prior to me webcamming, I would only have sex with the lights off and under the covers. Like, I would not really show my body, and it had to be dark. And when I had orgasms, I would cover my face with a pillow because I didn't want anyone to see what I really looked like when I was having an orgasm. I don't know how I ended up here, but
that's pretty heavy. That is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's a couch session in itself.
Right. Yeah. My mother says that when I was a little girl, I didn't want anyone to see my feet without socks on them. So I was just really shy. I know.
That's crazy. What a 180. I mean, that's so ridiculous. That's amazing. But absolutely. I think that's interesting too, as well. Because it's when I asked you that question, you were like, pretty deep thought there. It kind of got into your core a little bit.
Yeah, I think most people assume because of what I do that I've just always been this person that can be nude and walk around and be filmed and watched. And no, I was not that way.
I want to say thank you so much to you. I'm really, you've been so open, candid, and relaxed during this time. Tell me, what's coming up? What are we looking forward to? I know some good things are coming. You tell us, and I want you to give some shout outs. Just let us know what's cooking. And I'm hoping that everybody who sees this will get a completely different view of what Mindi Mink is. Although I got to tell you, to be honest, before you answer, you came across exactly the way you come across, which is, I think, a really, real, down to earth person. So what's cooking up? Tell me what's happening. Tell everybody. We want to know.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the compliment. And I do tell my fans that I'm really just a down to earth, the woman next door, really, you know, and I never thought of myself as, oh, I want to be a porn star. It really wasn't that. It was just me falling into it the way I did and just enjoying what I was doing and just really being me at the core as much as possible, you know, in my work. But anyway, so as far as what I got cooking, well, a couple of things. Yes, on my birthday is in a few days. My birthday is this Sunday, December 4th. I will be 54 years young and very proud of that. So I do, you know, have a store, a link. It's shopmindimink.com. And I have lots of wonderful things on there. I just created that store this year and I'm very, very proud of it. For multiple reasons. One is I created my very own lube. Here's the box, the pretty box. It's an all natural lube and you can get this on my store. And I have these awesome little bottles here. And when you get one, you get my autograph on the bottle. So it's all natural because I'm very much into natural products as much as possible. It's silky, it's smooth, it's got just a little hint of flavor to it. It's 100% edible. And I have used it in a few of my videos and scenes, but I've had a few people that have used it already that love it. So you can get this on my store. And then I have some other beautiful things on there that there's just too many wonderful things to mention, but it's a great store. And there on that store link, you can send me a birthday tip. If somebody would like to, you know, celebrate me and thank me for everything or whatever, then a birthday gift is always accepted graciously. So I have some options on there for birthday gifts. And then the other thing is on Sunday, because of my birthday, I'm releasing my scene, my Black Label magazine scene with the beautiful and wonderful Serene Siren. And I'm very excited about this particular scene that we did together. So I'm releasing that on Sunday. That's coming up. And then, you know, the rest of the year is just kind of status quo. Next year, I don't really have anything specifically planned, but I might do another meet and greet. So I had a meet and greet this year in April. I had 7 amazing ladies come to my meet and greet. And so I might do that again. I was really surprised no guys came. Like, what? How did this happen? Yeah. Well, I had one guy who did sign up to come, but he had an appendix rupture like the week before. So he couldn't make it. But so I might offer that again. I really haven't decided for sure on that. But yeah, so those are the things that I have up and coming. And, you know, I just want to, you know, say thank you so much, you know, to all of my fans. I say the best fans in the world, male and female. And I mean that. Like, it's because of them that has really kept me going for 10 years now. It's been 10 years. And, you know, the love and the support and the praise is why I'm still here doing what I'm doing, you know. And I just, like I said, I have the best fans in the world. And I thank each and every one of them every day. I'm very grateful. And that's another thing I practice every day is my gratitude journal. I'm writing in there all the time. I'm thankful about everything, you know, in my life. So I'm very blessed.
Sounds great. We want to say thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Want to say happy birthday coming up. Happy and healthy new year. And we're going to put all the links down below where everybody can go, of course. Louie Max, Grind&Pivot, a beautiful Mindi Mink. Appreciate it. Peace.
Closing doors, please.